theyeshiva.net.
Okay, today we're going to start the Gemarah after the Mishnah. We spent a few days discussing the two streams of Dikka, Bittel, Dikkas Chametz, and Bittel Chametz, the Shitta of Rashi, the Shitta of Tosfos, the Shitta of the Ram, and other Rishonim. And now we're going to go over to the Gemarah. Now, the truth is that the next two blot of Gemarah, more than two blot, the next 2.5, two blot Gemarah and more, a little more, is l'cha'oira, at first glance, a deviation from the Masechta Pesachim. It's now a sugya. It's a little bit of a different type of sugya. With the Gemarah, for two blot, Daf Beis, the entire Daf Beis, and the entire Daf Gimel, and a little bit of Daf Daled, the beginning of it, is going to be exploring one word of the Mishnah, the opening word of Masechta Pesachim, which is the word oir. So all the discussions of chametz and dikkas chametz and beer chametz and bittel chametz and what you do with dikkas chametz is all put on hold till we come back to Daf Daled, the middle of Daf Daled and Aleph, where the Gemara is going to go back to the continuation of the Mishnah. But the next two blot is all focused on one word. At first glance, it seems a little strange, a little mudna. The Gemara is going to go on and on and on to try to figure out what the word oir, l'arba'asa, means. And obviously, like in every sugya of Gemara, there are many layers of meaning and depth, which hopefully we'll be able to explore some of it. But first, we have to go through Parshas, the text, and see what the Gemara is saying. The Mishnah introduced Masechta Pesachim with the words Oir l'arba'asar boitkin es hachametz l'oir hanem, which literally means the Oir of the 14th. And we all understand what the 14th means. The Mishnah doesn't have to explain, because the Pasuk says that Pesach begins on the 15th of Nisan. So obviously Arba Asar is the day before, the 14th. You search for chametz by the light of a candle. And then the Mishnah continued, wherever you don't bring in chametz, you don't have to search. You only have to search the places where you bring in chametz. Frag the Gemarah, my oir. What is the meaning of the word oir? Now, it's a strange question in Gemarah. It's already in Chumash Bereishis. Somebody didn't learn Chumash Bereishis. Why are they learning Mishnayos in Gemarah? I know that's not a question today's day. But you already have to know what oir means. In Parshas Bereishis, you have right in the beginning. Bereishis bara l'kim es hashamayim v'saretz. Ha'aretz ha'yisasayu v'avayu v'chayshach al pnei sahim v'ruach l'kim rachefes al pnei hamayim. The third pasuk is Vayomer l'kim yihi oir. Vayi oir. Vayikra l'kim la'oir yoir. Hashem said, let there be light, and there was light. We know what oir means. Everybody knows oir in Lashon Kodesh means lichtigkeit, light. But the Gemara says, my oir, of course, what does oir mean here? When it says oir l'arba'asa, the light of arba'asa, it's a strange term. When? Tell me when, in the morning, at night, in the afternoon, in the evening. My oir, what's oir in the Mishnah? So there's a machlokes, there's an argument. The argument between two people, Rav Huna and Rabbi Yehuda. Rav Huna and Rabbi Yehuda are, of course, names familiar to anybody who learns Gemarah. But just to clarify and to give the reference, Rav Huna and Rabbi Yehuda were the second generation of Amoraim. There were 7 generations of Amoraim. Amoraim are those who interpret the Mishnah that was authored by the Tanoim. So Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi is considered the last generation of Tanoim. He is the editor of the Mishnah. He had a student, Rav. Rav was a student of Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, who's known as Rabbi. Rav was a student of Rabbi. Rav was Rosh Yeshiva in Bavel in Babylonia. And Rav, 2 of his great students were Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda, were 2 students of Rav. Rosh Yeshivas in Bavel and Pompedisa and in Surah. And Rabbi Yehuda and Rav Huna argue very often throughout Shas. And here too they're arguing in Pshat of the Mishnah. And again, they're the second generation of Amoraim. They're students of Rav, who was a student of Rabbi, who's the last generation of Tanoim. Rav Huna says Nighi. Or means light. Nighi in Aramaic is light. Rabbi Yehuda says Or means Layla, night. Now of course, Rabbi Huna and Rabbi Yehuda are not arguing that Or means light. Rabbi Yehuda also knew a pasuk in Chumash that Or means light. Rabbi Yehuda is arguing that the word Oir in our Mishnah means Layla, means night. Even though Oir means light, so Rabbi Yehuda might be saying, and we'll see about this later, that it's a euphemism. Just like we often call a blind person, Chalila, we call him Sagi Noher, which means he has a lot of light, which is what we call in English a euphemism. It's a name that you use, even though it's not the real name, because Sagi Noher means he has a lot of light, and this person unfortunately can't see. So Rabbi Yehuda might be saying that even though Oir means light, the way the Mishnah uses the word Oir is for night. It doesn't mean day, it means night. The night of our boss of Baitin is a chametz. Why would you then use the word Oir, which means light, when at night it's dark, which is why you need the light of a candle? So you might say, it's a euphemism, it's a way, instead of saying night, he says Oir, which again, you have to understand what's wrong with saying Leil our boss. Rabbi Huna says, no, Nigi means light. Talk the Gemarah, Kasolka Daitach. It would enter your mind, because solka means it would go up. Daitach in your mind, solka in Aramaic means go up, daitach in your mind. Meaning, the way to think about this would be the Manda Amar Nigi, the one who said light, Nigi Mamish. He Mamish means light. Manda Amar Leile, and Rabbi Yehuda says night, Leile Mamish. In other words, Rabbi Huna wasn't doing like the Mishnah, who says, according to Rabbi Yehuda, Ur, but means night. Rabbi Huna says Nigi, when I say light, I mean Nigi Mamish. Mamish light. I don't mean night, and I'm just using the word nigi. Rabbi Huna is explaining that Ur Taka means nigi. It means nigi. In other words, Rashi, Hachi Gersina, Kasol Kedai Techmanda, man nigi nigi mamish, Kishayoyer Hashachar, Shachris Shel Yudalit. Rabbi Huna holds, when do you have to do Bdikas Chametz? Do Bdikas Chametz at dawn break of Yudalit. Ur, L'arba Asar means at the light of Arba Asar. When Arba Asar becomes light, the night of our boss, it's not light, it's dark. So that's taken out of the equation. When is the chiyuv of b'dikas chametz? You have to wake up early that morning, and it comes alois hashachar, dawn break, shachar. The moment it starts getting light of our boss, Rabbi Huna holds, that's when you buy the chametz. That's what he says, Ur is nigi. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, it's leili, it's night. Rashi tain is, man dama leili, leili mamish, loigar sin, and avade leili hu mamish. Rashi tain is that the words man dama leila leila mamish you don't put in, because obviously if he says night, he means night. Night means night. Night doesn't mean day. The chiddush is that Rabbi Huna, who says nigi, don't think, just like the Mishnah says Oir, Rabbi Yehuda says it means night. Rabbi Huna also is saying nigi, and really he means the night. He means nigi, nigi mamish. Tosfos argues with Rashi. The second Tosfos says, "Lo nakat kasol kadaitach elam mishum manda amar nigi v'lo koi hachi." The reason the Gemara says kasol kadaitach is because we're going to change the position of Rabbi Huna later. We're just thinking that's what Rabbi Huna means, that you have to be by the comments in the morning. So that's why he says kasol kadaitach, so that means it enters your mind. It's a thought, it's not a conclusion. Once he's already saying Rabbi Huna means mamish, so he already quotes Rabbi Yehuda also as mamish. And therefore you don't have to say there was a mistake in all of the manuscripts like Rashi and take out Mandam Leile Mamish. In other words, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the conclusion is going to remain that it's Leile. It's not a Kasol Kadaitach. That's going to be the conclusion that he means night. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's only a Havamin. That's where Rashi took out the last words, the Havade Leile Hu Mamish. That's taka the truth that Leile is Mamish. First of all, it's obvious that's what he means, and also that's the Maskana. But Rabbi Yehuda is going to change. So in Mela we have here two opinions when you do B'dikas Chametz. When do you do b'dikas chametz? Rabbi Huna would say in the morning, Rabbi Yehuda would say at night, and they're both arguing, they're both explaining the word of Oir. The Gemarah Meisva, they asked a shaila, l'chayre, this doesn't make sense, and this question is going to be on Rabbi Yehuda. We're going to prove Rabbi Huna is right. Now this is going to go a whole sugya with psukim now to figure out what Oir is, and as I told you, it's abyssal madna to understand this whole shackle of Atayya back and forth. But we'll Beis Hashem try to at least understand a little bit of it and see what the Gemarah is saying. The first pasuk comes from Parshas Miketz. The brothers of Yosef come and they obtain food from Yosef in order to bring back to their homes in Canaan because of the devastating hunger. And the expression in Parshas Miketz is Ha-boiker oir v'anoshim shulchu hema v'chamereya. Ha-boiker oir. How do you say that? Literally, the morning is oir. The morning is oir. That's what we're trying to figure out. And the people, the men, the 10 brothers of Yosef HaTzadik were sent back home with their donkeys. And then the story continues. So the Gemarah, Alma or Yamamu, Zetman the Klar, that what? That Oir is Yemama. Oir is not night, Oir is day. How can Rabbi Yehuda say it's night? HaBoiker Oir v'anoshim shulchan. Rashi, Kasol Kadaitach, the way the Gemara is understanding the pasuk, the Hachi Kamar, this is true. Ula Boiker, in the morning, the Hainu Oir, which is the time that we call Oir. It could have said HaBoiker, morning, Anoshim Shulchan. HaBoiker, the morning, which the morning is the time that we call Oir. That's the name for Oir. Oir is Boiker. That's when they were sent. Kaloimar Sheshmai Oir. The way we define Boiker, we have a name for it. It's called Oir. That's morning. Anoshim Shulchan, they were sent. That would be the Havamin, and then of course Oir means day. Zog the Gemarah, no. Miksiv ha'oir boiker, ha'boiker oirksiv. Does it say ha'oir boiker? It says ha'boiker, which means what does the Gemarah say? Zog Rashi, Miksiv ha'oir boiker, the l'shtame u'la'oir da'ainu boiker, the timtze loymar, the oir shem davarhu, the kari l'boiker, oir. If Oir would be a noun, Oir could be a noun and Oir could be a verb. The Hainu, it could be a Shem HaEtzem. We say, what's the name of Boiker? Oir. Oir is another name for day. Day was called Oir, just like you say Boiker means morning. Oir is a name for morning and the day. That would be Oir as a noun, as a Shem HaEtzem. We're describing a particular reality called day. That's the Havamin. If it would say, Ha'oir, which is the name for Boiker, Ha'anoshim Shulchu would work. Now that it first says Boiker, and then Oir, it could be interpreted not as a noun, but as a verb. Meaning, HaBoiker Oir, the Boiker Heyer, morning. The morning started to shine, and the people were sent. That's what he said. I miksiv ha'oir Boiker, HaBoiker Oir ksiv. It says HaBoiker Oir. Command the Amar, like somebody says, Safra Nahar in Aramaic. The morgen hat aufgeleuchtet. The morning came shining. They say even today, Boker Or, the morning came shining. In other words, the Boker is not just, you have in Boker itself, you have Alois HaShachar when it's still dark. It's morning, but it's still dark, it's dawn break. And then you have sunrise, where you have full light. The Boker is really Safra, the morning. Nahar is bright, it's luminescent. The beginning of Alois HaShachar, when Alois HaShachar happens, today like around 5:30, what was today Alois HaShachar? 5:20, 5:30, still dark outside. You see glimmers of light because the sun is beginning to rise. But an hour later, 6:30, Netzachama, so Shalichtik, Safra, the morning is Nahar. That Oir is not a noun, it's not the Boiker, which is the name of Oir. Oir is like when the Boiker is in a state of Oir. It's a verb, it's not a noun. So if the Oir would say before Boiker, then you can't, then usually you say the noun and then you describe it. So here you would say the Oir, which is the name for Boiker, Ha'nashim Shulchu, but here it says HaBoiker Oir. So the noun is Boiker, and the Oir is a description of Boiker. What time of the Boiker? When the Boiker became bright, meaning Netzachama versus Alois HaShachar. The Shvatim didn't leave right in the morning, they left when the Boiker was already Oir, when it's fully light. So Oir is not a noun, Oir is a verb. That's what Rashi says. Miksiv Oir Boiker de l'shtame, ula Oir, the Hainu Boiker. Oir is the name for Boiker, the Timtzi Loima, the Oir Shem Davarhu. Oir is a noun. The Kari LeBoiker Oir, we're giving the name. That's not what it says. It says HaBoiker Oir Ksiv. HaBoiker Oir, it's very geschmack as a verb. When the Boiker was in a state of Oir, Hai Oir Lav Shem Davarhu, HaBoiker Heir. Not Boiker Oir, HaBoiker Heir, V'anoshim Shulchu, K'mandamer Tzafra Nahar, like somebody says, the morning became bright. Ulefi Darka, Zog the Gemarah weiter, Ukadrev Yehuda Amarav. And this is like the teaching of Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Rav. We're using here the pasuk we're first to try to refute Rabbi Yehuda. And then we're supporting Rabbi Yehuda. And here again we quote Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Rav. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rav, La'olam yikonis adam b'chitov v'yetzi b'chitov. Whenever you go into a city, it should go in by kitov. You should go in when it's good, and you should leave when it's good. This is, of course, an expression. The pasuk says in Bereshis, Hashem saw that light was good. So Rabbi Yehuda had an expression. Don't leave a place when it's still dark. Don't leave in the middle of the night. Leave when it's light. And don't come into a place. Don't come to a hotel or a motel in the middle of the night. Come when it's still light. In other words, leave after morning and come before evening. When it's light. Where did Rabbi Yehuda learn this? The Shvatim. HaBoiker Oir v'anoshim shulchu. They didn't leave in the middle of the night. They waited till Boiker Oir. And when did they wait? Not even Alois HaShachar. They waited till it was full light. That's the Chiddush. From HaBoiker Oir you learn. If it would have said HaBoiker, you would think moment morning came, they left. So the pasuk says no, HaBoiker Oir. They waited till the Boiker became Oir, and then they left. So from here, Rabbi Yehuda learns this idea of Lo'olam, like Rashi continues, L'vidar kelim d'chakasav derecheretz mechei Yosef, shimtinu at sheheir ha-mizrach kid Rabbi Yehuda. They waited till Mizrach was fully shining, meaning the east was shining because the sun came up. Aval Oir shu shem davar, einei ela laila. But Oir as a noun could be the way the Chazal described night. Oir l'arba'asar could mean the night of arba'asar. Aya boiker Oir is obviously not talking about night. That's not Oir as a noun, that's Oir as a verb. Ha-boiker, heir. The boiker was in a state of light, rather than the definition and the noun of Oir. B'chi toiv, so Rashi, hayoytzi l'derech, yikones arbes l'beis molin, at night going to the hotel, boida chamas erachas, when it's still day, when the sun is shining, u'l'mocher tomorrow when you have to leave, don't check out too early, yamtin ad hanetz hachama v'yetze, wait till sunrise, v'oz toiv loi. It's good. Why can't the Rebbe just say simple? Go in at day and leave by day. Because he wants to say it's toiv. Halistim, when it's dark, the wild animals or thieves and thugs who hang out and lurk in the night. Sok the Gemarah weiter, so a Melech of Yehuda was defended. Or could mean night. Or l'arba'asar does not have to mean day. So the Gemarah weiter, Meis, they asked a second question. Ucha Pasuk in Shmuel Beis, Perek Chav Gimel. David HaMelech says, Ucha boiker yizrach shemesh. What's pshat Ucha boiker yizrach shemesh? Like the light of the morning, the sun will rise, will shine. Rashi, Hashta Mashmala. The way the Gemara understands it now is the Shem Davarhu. Oir again is a noun. V'hachi kamar David. Here the Oir taka comes before Boiker. By the Shvatim it said ha-Boiker Oir. So we said if you really just wanted to describe the name of Boiker, the name of Oir, it should have said Oir before Boiker. Boiker Oir you could type very much, not as a noun but as a verb. But here it says Oir before Boiker. So you can't say the Boiker was Meir, because here the Oir says before the Boiker. Right? So in Mele you have to touch it as a noun. So he says Cha'ar Boiker. That's what Rashi says. Hashta mashmal the shem davaru. V'hachi kamar David. U'ka'ar zed ha'inu Boiker. Ken yizrach shemesh letzadikim sheyetzu ma'afilosan lo'elam haba. David HaMelech is describing that the difference between Golus and Geula, Olam Haza and Olam Haba, is like the difference between night and day. Cha'ar Boiker, like the light, like the Ur, which is the name for Boiker. It's another name for Boiker, or Kei Yizrach Shemesh, that represents how the sun will shine the tzaddikim in Olam Haba. In other words, the definition of Olam Haba is the uniqueness of Yom versus Laila. At night, everything is there. There's no difference between night and day. But you don't see, you don't appreciate, you don't perceive. The doors of perception are cleansed. You don't see. What happens by day is you could simply see reality, awareness. So the definition, a lot of shiurim are based on this. The whole definition of Olam Haba is simply you see. You just get to see reality. That's the raya. Alma or yamamuhu. Zog the Gemara, no, miksiv or boiker, ucha or boiker ksiv. Does it say the words or boiker yizrach shemesh? It says or boiker. V'hachi kama. This is what it means. Ucha or boiker ba'olam haza ke'ein zrichas shemesh letzadikim ba'olam haba. When you have the Oir Boiker in Olam Haza, that's the Zichas Shemesh L'Tzadikim in Olam Haba. What this means is, the Havamina was, what we thought was, Ka'or Boiker. Just like the Oir, which is the name for Boiker, we call it Oir. So Yizrach Shemesh, that is how the sun will shine for tzaddikim la'olam haba, meaning that the definition of Olam Haba is like Or Boker, it's coming out from night to day. So the Gemara answers that's not the pshat. Let's see Rashi. Miksiv Or Boker, the Hainu Shem Dover, again a noun, the name of something. V'neima Oiru Boker, v'chen Yizrach Shamash. Oir is Boker, and that is what is going to happen. La Olam Haba, it's going to be a Zrichas Hashemesh, like coming from Laila to him. That's not pshat. Ucha Or Boker Ksiv. The Ein Ze Shem Dover, Ela Kemeir Shal Boker Yizrach Shemesh. Keshamas Chil HaBoker Lohoyer Boilam Hazan. V'hu Choshech V'Oifel. Ba'lois HaShachar Noiga Kizrichas Hashemesh Shal Achshav Tiya Oyser Shal Tzadikim La'asad Lovay. Lefishi Yeher Or HaCham HaGadol Ma'oid Va'afilu Alois HaShachar Shalo Yoyer Ka'anei Tzachama Shal Achshav. What is Rashi telling us? He's saying as follows. In our world, by Alois HaShachar, as I said, it's still dark. When dawn breaks, it's pretty dark. It's becoming light, but it's dark. When does it become light? It becomes light by Neitz HaChama, which usually there could be an hour in between, or whatever the period is, between dawn break and sunrise. La'asid Lavai, what the Pasuk is saying is, the light will be so powerful that even Ba'alois HaShachar, even dawn break, will have the intensity and the power of the light that we have now by Zrichas HaChama. In other words, the Ka'or Boker is not a Chaf Hadimyan. What do we mean a Chaf Hadimyan? Like the Or of Boker, which is the name of Boker, that's going to be Yizrach Shemesh. No, Ka'or Boker is like Vayihi Kachatzois Halayla, Ka'asher, Ka'or Boker Yizrach Shemesh. When now, you say Vayihi Kachatzois Halayla, what does it mean? It means at the time of Chatzois Halayla, at the time around Chatzois Halayla, which is like right after Chatzois Halayla, Hashem Hika Kol B'char. So Ka'or Boker, when, Ka'or not like, when, Ka'asher, Ka'or Boker, when the light of Boker begins, Yizrach Shemesh, La'asid Lave, that time will already be the time of Zrichas HaShemesh because the sun will be so strong. So we thought that Ka'or means before Boker, again it's a noun, and therefore teaches us that Or has to mean day. So he says, no, it's not Ka'or Boker Yizrach Shemesh, that the Zrichas HaShemesh La'asid Lava is defined like Or Boker. Ka'or Boker is describing. Ka'or Boker, when there's the Or of Boker, the first Or of Boker, not HaBoker Heir like we learned before, which is already a second stage, Neitz HaChama. But Ka'or Boker, the beginning of the Or of Boker, which is very, very dim, Kain Yizrach Shemesh, that's going to be the state, La'asid Lavai of Zrichas HaShemesh. At that time, everything will be so filled with light that even what's today dim light over there, the light will be much stronger. As Rashi says, in Rashi's Lashon, even the Alois HaShachar Shalom is going to be like today's Neitz HaCham. So B'meila, again, we don't have a raya that Or means day, and Or could mean night. Rabbi Yehuda is right. And over there, when we say Ka'or Boker Yizrach Shemesh, what it means is not a Shem Davar, but Kemeir Shal Boker. When the Boker starts shining, Ka'or Boker, when the Boker starts shining, which is the beginning, just the beginning, K'shamaschil HaBoker, and it's still dark. Rashi says, Ba'alois HaShachar, it's still dark. That's going to be the level of that's how it is today. And in Olam Haba, there's going to be Zrichas HaShemesh in its full intensity. Zog the Gemarah weiter, the next third one. Meisva. Vayikra Elokim la'or. Hashem called Or day. He called light day. Alma Or Yemamuhu is the Charaya that Or is day. Vayikra Elokim la'or. And what do you want more from this? Comes Rabbi Yehuda and says Or means night. The pasuk clearly says Hashem gave Or a name. What's the name for it? He gave Or a name, and the name is Yom. That means also the other way. Yom is Or is Yom. So when it says Or, it means day. So the Gemarah, no. Hachikamar. L'meiru bakar Yom. It's not a noun. It's a verb. Vayikra Elokim la'or. Hashem called Or when it's getting light. Not He gave Or a name Yom and Yom a name Or. Vayikra Elokim when it's getting light. Before it's light, when the sun didn't rise yet. What's the difference between dawnbreak and sunrise? In dawnbreak, the ball of the sun is not yet over the horizon. You can't see the actual sun. The glimmers show up, so it gets light. Neitzacham, actually the sun rises. You see the ball of the sun rise. You see it on the east of the horizon. Then it continues to rise till it's over our heads by chatzos, and then it sets. So l'meiru b'karayim. La'oir, he calls asevert lichtik, not la'oir to oir yoim. Vayikra l'kim la'oir. In other words, even before Neitzachama is called yoim. L'meiru, the process of getting light, he calls yom Rashi. L'meiru b'karayim, mishosh maschil la'hoyer. When it starts getting light, v'hay oir lav shem davaru. It's not a noun that oir is yoim. No, really oir could mean laila, as Rabbi Yehuda says. It says vayikra l'kim la'oir yoim. He's saying Hashem called the time when it's getting light, l'meiru ba. As the sun is coming up, as the light is coming, we already call that Yom. It's a halachic terminology of what's the definition of Yom and Laila versus the Taich Oir. When it says Oir as a noun, perhaps it can equally mean night as a euphemism. Frag the Gemarah, really? So the continuation of the pasuk, you have to say, doesn't mean he gave night a name. Darkness, or he gave darkness a name, night. It means, as it's getting dark, he calls it night. When is it getting dark? The difference between daybreak and sunrise is the difference between sunset and nightfall. The same concept. What happens in the morning happens in the evening, right? In the morning it's dark, and before the morning it's dark. What happens as the sun is coming closer to our horizon, whatever your horizon is, your 180 degrees, depends where you're living on Earth. I'm talking about from our perspective. I'm not now getting into the discussion of the actual orbits of the sun and the earth. It's not for now. We did that at the Sechta Rosh Hashanah. But from our perspective, what happens is, Alois HaShachar, you will not see a sun. This morning, 5:30, you can have the clearest of mornings. You will not see any sun. You will see the light of the sun because it's impossible yet to see the actual ball of the sun. An hour later, by Neitzachama, you will see the actual red ball that we call the sun rising, and you will see it at the edge of the tip of the horizon Mizrach, actually there. Right? Now it's going to be a little further up. It goes down, down, down. What happens Shkia? Shkia is not dark. Shkia is not dark. Shkia, the ball sets, but you still have the light. Just like by Alois HaShachar. You didn't have the sun, but you had the light of the sun. Shkia Sachama, you don't have the sun, but you have the light of the sun. Then you have nightfall, which is approximately, we'll get into this a little later, but approximately, let's say, a half an hour after Shkia, an hour after Shkia, the different times. But the point is, then it becomes dark, and then pitch dark. Why? It's not only the ball set, the light set. You have no light anymore. So when you say, Vayikra Lakim La'or Yom, doesn't mean Hashem called Or Yom. He gave Or a name. And that is, it's light, I'm giving it a name, Yom. And that's the name for Or. No, it means the verb. When it's becoming light, we call it day. So when it's becoming dark, we call it night. In other words, when does night begin? Not when it's night, when it's becoming night. Already by sunset, when it starts getting dark. Frag the Gemarah, you can't say that for Chaim alone. We have a halacha, the that till Tzeisekechavim, till the stars come out, is considered an halacha that, as Rashi says, Chaim alone b'shmaitze kamaitze the brachas. In the first paragraph of brachas, Tzeisekechavim yemama kidiksiv me'alois hashachar v'Tzeisekechavim the Ezra. It speaks about the construction of the second Beis Hamikdash, and the pasuk says over there that they were doing melacha from alois hashachar till Tzeisekechavim. At night we rested, and by day we did malacha. What's considered the time of malacha? He says we did from alois hashachar till Tzeisekechavim. And he says by day we worked, by night we rested. That means he calls day from alois hashachar till Tzeisekechavim. So that means like this, day chaps more than night. Because day already steals from alois hashachar. And it goes till Tzeisekechavim. Night only starts at Tzeisekechavim. But we see clearly a pasuk. That's how the Chazal understood what's Yom and what's Laila. Laila starts only by Tzeisekechavim, not by Shkia Sachama, not by sunset. So you can't say Vayikra Lakim La'or Yom means he called when it's getting light day, because then the rest of the pasuk has to be V'lachayshach Kara Laila. When it was getting dark, he called night, and that's not true. Till Tzeisekechavim is considered day. Now this right away gives rise to the discussion of what's the definition of Shkia Sachama. What's the definition of Tzeisak Echavim? And if we have a clear halacha that till Tzeisak Echavim is day, why do we behave after Shkia as though it's not day? Now, some of you don't behave after Shkia as though it's not day. Some of you behave after Shkia as it is morning. They say that there was once a convention of rabbis in the early years, and you had the Satmar of the Divrei Yoel and Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky. They came from two different regions in Eastern Europe. Yaakov Kamenetsky was a Slobodka Talmud, a Litvish Talmud, and the Divrei Yoel, of course, came from Hungary. And it was quite late. It was way after what some people call Shkia, sunset, and the Divrei Yoel was looking to daven mincha. So he asked Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, "Hat you schon gedaven mincha? Did you daven mincha yet?" So Rabbi Yaakov said, "Heint noch nicht," which means today, not yet. Because of course for him, this was already a new day, and he didn't daven mincha yet. He also didn't daven shachris yet of that day. He said, "Heint noch nicht." So a lot of this is based on this discussion of the Gemarah. And Beis Hashem, when we finish the sugya, we'll go into it because Tosfos addresses it. What do we learn from here? That Tzeisak Echavim is the old beginning of night until Tzeisak Echavim is day. We see practically, we don't look at it mamash that way. What's the definition of Shkia? What's the definition of Tzeis? What's negay right now is V'lachoshech kara Laila can't mean that Laila begins before Choshech. That's not the case. The pasuk clearly says day continues till Tzeisak Echavim when they did the construction of the Beis Hamikdash. So we have a problem. So you have to say Lachoshech means he called darkness night. So he called Oir Yoim. So when you say the word Oir, Vayikra Lekim Lo'ir, it has a name, and the name is Yoim. So when you say Oir, Hashem says it's called Yoim, and Rabbi Yehuda says no, it means night. It says Oir Lar Ba'asar. You say it means night, and the pasuk says Vayikra Lekim Lo'ir Yoim. And for the Gemarah, Elohachi Kamar Pshat, the pasuk is something else. When you say Vayikra, it can mean two things. Vayikra is I call you, I call something a name. Or it can mean like Vayikra El Moshe. Vayikra El Moshe means he didn't give him a name. He didn't call the name. He summoned him. V'kara zel zeh v'yamar. Vayikra. You call you, I summon you. Like a melech is kara somebody. Different Vayikra. Vayikra lekim la'or yom. You could say Hashem called Or Yom. He gave it a name. Vayikra lekim la'or means he summoned Or. He called out. That's good. And he called him. That's what the Gemarah says. Hachikama. Kayir echman l'nahayra. Hashem called, he summoned light, ufakdei amitzvasa de yamama, and he commanded him to take care of the daytime. And then Vayikra Elokim, and then Hashem called the Choshech, and Korah, he summoned Choshech, ufakdei amitzvasa de leila, and he commanded him to take care of the night. He should rule at night. Rashi says, the he didn't call the name of Or Yom. He called that Bria, interesting Lashon and Rashi, the Bria, the creation that he created from the glory of his lavush, of his garment. That Bria, he commanded him to serve during the day, and the Choshech tzivu l'shamish balayla, he commanded to serve at night. Kara, he called them kemelech shekara la'avdor sheyavel lefanav. Not Kara as a designation of a name, but like summoning somebody. Agav, the Vilna Gaon, in his Sid, in his Pirush on Siddur, wants to prove from this Gemarah, there's a big machlokes harishonim, if Choshech is a bria, or Choshech is the absence of light. What's the definition of darkness? Some held that darkness didn't have a metzius. There was no reality. It's just the absence of light. Meaning, there's only light. If there's no light, by default, there's darkness. There's no such a metzius called darkness. Darkness is not a creation. Darkness is simply the absence of light. When there's no light, so then there's darkness. In other words, there's no such a thing as fighting darkness. There's nothing to fight with. The whole metzius of darkness is no light. Light a candle and there's no light. Don't take darkness seriously. There's nothing to fight with. That's one shit in Rishonim. There's a lot of ramifications in Ashkaf and psychology. Another shit in Rishonim is that darkness is actually a metzius. We say in the morning, Yotzeror uvoyrei choshech. So one of the rayas that they bring to the second Sada is this Gemarah, that Hashem called choshech ufakdei amitzvasa the leila. I just wanted to make wanted to make that harder. Agav, Tosfos Rabbeinu Peretz writes here that the Lashon HaGemara is a little stranger. Ufakte amitzvasa de yamama. Ufakte ayamama. He told it to take over the day, to rule the day. What's this mitzvah de yamama? So he Taisha is talking about the mitzvahs. The mitzvahs. Hashem called the light, and he said, you are the one that's going to create the mitzvahs of day. He called Choshech, you're going to create the mitzvahs of Laila. For example, Sfiras HaOmer is a mitzvah at night. Be'erev Toichlu Matzos is a mitzvah at night. Mikveh for Nida is a mitzvah at night. These are mitzvahs that you can only do at night. You can't do them during the day. Sfiras HaOmer you don't do by day. You dafka have to do at night. The mitzvah of tzitzis and the mitzvah of tefillin, or the mitzvah of shofar, you do dafka by day. So he called Yoim, he called light, ufakte ha-mitzvasa de yamama. He commanded him, he gave him the shlichus, that you're going to create the mitzvahs hayoim. Ufakte ha-mitzvasa de light, that's how Rabbeinu Peretz teaches the Gemarah. Meisva b'meila, we're good. Vayikra l'kim la'or yoim, had nothing to do with the name. Or could mean night. It means Hashem summoned Or, and he made it in charge of the day. Meisva, hallelujah, kol koich v'yor. We say in Tehillim every morning, hallelujah, bless him, praise him, kol koich v'yor. All the koichavim of Or. Alma Or Urtuhu. Till now, we were trying to disprove Rabbi Yehuda and prove Rabbi Huna was right. Now it's the opposite. Kol koich v'yor, all the koichavim of Or. When do you see stars? You see stars by night. So we see Or is night. Kol koich v'yor. So the Gemarah, no. Hallelujah, hachikam. Hallelujah, kol koichavim hami'irim. Again, not a noun, a verb. Hallelujah, kol koich v'yor. All the stars that Or, that shine, that give off light. Lichte kesterin. Not hallelujah, kol koich v'yor. Not let all the stars of Or, of the time called Or, which means night, praise him. Kol koichavim amirim, all the stars that are shining, that give off light. That doesn't make sense. Mainly if you say kol koich v'yor means kol koich v'yor Or is night, I understand. Because at night, that's when we see the stars. We can't see stars by day. But if you say Or means all the koichavim that give light, the koichavim, stars that don't give light, shouldn't be praising God. Why not? They don't have a pesach shlichus. They're a waste of time. What's pshat? Since who made this chalukah? And the Vaksiv, the finish of pasuk, hallelujah, choltzavav, hallelujah, choltzavav, and not far away, a pasuk before, hallelujah, shalu kol malachav, hallelujah, choltzavav, hallelujah, shemesh v'yareach, hallelujah, kol koich. So in the previous pasuk, David HaMelech says choltzavav, which means all of his troops, all of his legion. The next pasuk he decided, no, only koich v'yar, only koichav mamirim. What's pshat? So you can't say that. So you have to say kol koich v'yar means all the koichavim at night, which are called Or. The Charaya Or is night, which is a proof to Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemarah Elohaka Mashbala. No. Really, kol koich v'yar means kol koichavim hame'irim. Vasapis. We're not trying to say that koichavim that don't give off light don't praise him. All the koichavim praise him. So what do you have to say the word Or? Just say hallelujah, kol koichavim. There's a halacha here. The the koichavim nami Or. He wants to teach us the light of stars is called stars. Who cares? Somebody who makes a vow that he's not going to benefit from light. Because there's a halacha that if you make a vow, to the Santa type of vow, that you don't want to benefit from light, so it's not only the sun, it's not only the moon, it's even stars. What's the raya? Because it says koich ve'or. It's like Rashi. Koich v'yor doesn't mean the koichavim of night, it means koichavim that give off light. You ask, if they don't give off light, not. The reason it says koich v'yor, you're not trying to diminish and exclude stars that don't give off light. The M is the kol koichavim yesh lamar. Because really he says all stars give off some light. So there's nothing to exclude from here. Because all koichavim are really Or, don't write the word, just write hallelujah, kol ha-kechavim. Ukrash min the kechavim karayar. V'nafki min l'neider anam min sheyaseh b'eran shel kechavim. And b'meila there's no proof to Rabbi Yehuda that Or is night, and we're back to square one. Meisva, another question. Eoiv describes in Perek Chav Daled how some people behave. Miserable, immoral, promiscuous people, how they behave, and this is a description. he says, let me describe to you certain people, certain type of person. When it comes oir, the Reitzeach wakes up, the murderer wakes up, and he murders poor people. Ubalayla at night, there's nobody in the streets, he becomes a ganav. In other words, he's occupied 24 hours a day. When there's people around, he murders. When there's no people around, he becomes a professional ganav. What do we see from this pasuk? La'oir, when it comes oir, yakum reitzeach, yeah? And he kills. He goes out to the streets to kill poor people. Uba Laila, at night, there's nobody around, so he becomes a ganav. So oir and Laila are contrasted. La'oir, he kills. At night, he's a ganav. So we see clearly, oir is the term for day. La'oir, it doesn't say liyoim yakum reitzeach, because oir and yoim are interchangeable, which again is a raya to Rabbi Huna against Rabbi Yehuda, that oir is yoim. And for the Gemarah, no. And for the Gemarah, ha midakam balayla yikaganav alma or yamamu. So Rashi, miklal the oir the reisha the kra yamamu v'achikam. When people are walking, he stands on crossroads. He kills them to take their money. He doesn't go to sleep at night. At night there's a lot of work. He digs, lachter, he digs in homes, and he steals the money. That's how he does it at night. But we see clearly the contrast of oir versus yoim. And for the Gemarah, hasam hachikamar. The pasuk could have said yoim, emes. But in this description, the pasuk Iyov is also teaching us a halacha. What is it? If it's obvious to you like light, it's clear that this person is coming to kill, he's a murderer, and you could save yourself by killing him. If it's unclear to you like night, when you don't see it clearly, look at him like a ganav, and you're not allowed to kill him. Now here, the Gemarah is using this pasuk to teach us a limud in halach. There's a pasuk in Parshas Mishpatim, in b'machteres yimatzei haganav. It's the middle of the night, and somebody is breaking into your house, and you see him coming. What's the halacha? Are you allowed to kill him or not kill him? So it says, v'huka, if you kill him, ein loy damim, there's no blood on you. You're not given any punishment for killing a person. Why? The guy didn't come to kill. Maybe if he came to kill, we learn now that you're allowed to defend yourself. But here he just came for your money. Arrest him. Call the police. How could stop him? How could you kill him? And you say it's fine. The answer is because the Torah says, Ein loy damim, because we assume that this person knows he may find resistance. And it may be that the situation will be if you stand up to him, and you want to stand up to him, and you have a right to stand up to him, he's going to kill you. In other words, he's coming to steal. Thus is mit goodness. That's the good option. But what happens if you resist? He may be ready to kill. So therefore, you have to treat him as a potential murderer if you stand up to him and you disturb him. And therefore, because of that, Ein Lo Damim, halacha allows you to kill him, and you're exonerated. You're free from punishment. Because you are allowed to, he's not considered a person who has blood, meaning you're not liable on his blood. That's the halacha. But there's an exception here, and that's what we're learning out from here. What if it's a type of person who you know for sure he'll never kill you? How could you know there's such a person? The classic example would be a father who is, it's an interesting hechetimtza, but I guess there's different types of fathers. A father who breaks in, his son Baruch Hashem is a nice businessman, he made some money, he doesn't want to give anything to his father, so the father has the keys and he breaks in to the son's home. Now, even if you're going to stand up to your father, right, our natural assumption is he'll never kill you. You know for sure. That's what we're learning from this pasuk. Le'oir, if it's clear that you're dealing with a ritzayach, that's what he says. That he's a ritzayach, then it's fine. But if it's balayla, Laila is not only day and night. Of course, the pasuk means in the morning he kills, and by night he steals. But there's a deeper limit. The reason we use the word la'or is not to say oir is yoim. If it's clear as daytime, as light, it's bright, it's clear to you that this person is a Ritzeyach, meaning he's likely he could murder you, then you're allowed to kill him. Balayla, if it's night, meaning it's unclear, it's dark in your mind, you're not sure. Balayla, it's a suffix. Then, as Rashi will explain what that means, then, Yehei beinecha keganev. Zok Rashi, what's pshat? Hachikam. Mashnanos, salach terer rishus, alababa machteres laharga, kediksiv. Im b'machteres, yimatzi aganav, v'hukav v'meis, ein loy damin. Im bar l'cha davar karsho, ba'al iskin nefashis. If it's clear that he may be coming, al iskin nefashis, doesn't mean hu ba, that you know for sure. You don't have ruach hakodesh. Could be he's an edel aganav, chveis nish. But it means it's clear that it's possible. It's not muchrach that for sure not. You know sometimes a person, he's never going to kill you. He's a ganev, but he's not a ritzeach. They're not. But in bar l'cha adover, that it's possible that he's going to kill you. Dahainu kol adam, which means every person could kill you. Chutz me'aval haben. Besides a father to a child, the kayotze boy. Not only anybody shemakir boishu oyavoy ma'oid. I have to know that he really loves me. He'll ask me a question. Why in the world is my best friend breaking into my house and stealing? I get the kasha. So I get the kasha. And that's why maybe you don't know who your friends are. Maybe the guy you thought he loved you doesn't mamish love you so much. But the bottom line is, if it's somebody, and the paradigm would be your father. Your father. Aganav sheyeh. Abraritzeach. No, that's a far stretch. So then what's the halacha? So anyone, if it's likely that it's iske nefashos. He's going to kill you. He's already a ritzeach before he kills you. Anybody, security guard, a friend, or you yourself, could save the owner of the money with the soul of the ganav, because he's considered a ritzeach. If it's not so parshat, somebody loves you, he's your father. He won't kill you. Treat him as a ganav, not as an itzeach. Again, this is not talking about if you know that your father is shaykh to kill you. Then he also has the halacha of a ritzeach. We're talking about a regular case of a father and a son. Are there exceptions? Of course there are exceptions. When the Chazal just want to bring out a case where you know for sure he's not going to kill you, it's not a suffix, then they talk about a father and a son. No. The compassion for a father over a son, a healthy father over a son, is much deeper than a son over a father. We see that when Yehuda was trying to convince Yosef to release Binyamin, in Parshas Vayigash, what does he say? He says, "V'nafshek shura b'nafshay," you can't let him come back without his father. Why doesn't he say a better taina? Binyamin has 10 kinderlach in the house. Binyamin had 10 children. How could you keep Binyamin as an eved and not let him come home? He has 10 children. But what he gets Yosef is that v'nafshek shura b'nafshay. Because the pain of a father losing a child is deeper than the pain of a child losing a father. It's a different type of relationship, even though it's very deep. Again, we're talking about a healthy father, a normal father, a functional father. There are exceptions. There are fathers who murder their children, and they even pride themselves in it. But they are choylei nefesh, and they're not ordinary fathers. But in a regular case, the Chazal assumed that here it's a davar barur. It's a davar barur that he will not kill you. Zog the Gemarah vayt Meisr. Eoy, back to Eoy Peri Gimel. Eoy had a miserable life. And because he had a miserable life, he cursed the day he was born, and he cursed the night that his mother became pregnant. And Eoy is the person who says, I wish I would have died in the womb. I wish I would have never seen the light of day. I wish that night when my mother became pregnant would have never ended, meaning life would have stopped right there and I would have never been born. And one of the expressions of Eoy is Yechshechu koichvei nishvai. The stars of night would have remained dark. Yikav la'oir. It waits for oir, va'ayin, and the oir doesn't come. Va'al yivre ba'afape shachar. And it doesn't see the blush of dawn. Afape is the blush, the beginning of the light of shachar, of dawn. So Eov is describing the cursed night when his mother became pregnant, a night that waits for oir and it never comes. What do we see from here? Alma oir yemamo. He says yikav. Koichvei nishvai means the stars of night. Neshef is night. So the stars of night wait lo oir va'ayin, and light never came. Day never come. We see clearly he contrasts Laila and Yoim, and it's called oir. So the Gemara know hasam mela to the kalayit la'iev lamazle. Eov was cursing his mazel in life. Omar, he said, Yehi Rav, I wish the litzvei hachgavril and the hoyre that this man waits for light and it doesn't come. We thought Yikav is talking about the night. Yikav, the night, waits la'or day and it never comes. Day never comes. That's his hope. He's talking about himself. Yikav, the person. He's cursing his mazel. What a horrible mazel he had. His whole life he's waiting for bissel lichtigkeit. Yikav la'or. So you don't have to say or means yoim. If it's versus Laila, the Laila waits for or, it means the Laila waits for Yom. But if it's talking about himself, he's talking about a person who's just waiting for a bissel lichtigkeit. You don't have to say Yikav la'or, which means that he's waiting for light in his life and it never came. The light never came in his life. The Ibn Ezra, who had a very difficult and miserable life, has a poem. And he says that I will never ever have hatzlacha in anything I do, especially not on Parnas. He was very, very poor. He was one of the Chachmei Hador, but he had a very, very terrible poverty and other tzaras. And Ibn Ezra writes, he's a famous poem, he says about himself, he says, if I would go in to the business of candles, I would manufacture candles and sell them, my mazel would be that the sun would never set again. So people wouldn't buy. And he says, if I would go into the business of Chevra Kadisha, the Malach HaMavos wouldn't kill anybody ever again. That's how bad my mazel is. I mean, even things that are a given. Night comes, they say two things are a given. Yeah, the IRS is coming after you and the Chevra Kadisha are coming after you. But Ibn Ezra says both of these things will not happen. So B'meila Eov is cursing his mazel. Doesn't have to do or doesn't have to mean yoim. And B'meila we're back to no disproving Rabbi Yehuda yet. Zog the Gemarah Meisva. V'omer, the pasuk says in Tehillim, David HaMelech says, Kapitel Kuf Lamed Tes of Tehillim. Beautiful kapitel, he says, V'omer, not V'omer, V'omer, David, it's part of the kapitel. V'omer, David says, I said, Achoshech Yushufeni, darkness, Yushufeni, what does he say? Darkness overtook me. Achosh, how does he translate? Darkness, that darkness became my shadow. Darkness shadowed me. It surrounded me. Achosh, V'layla, but what happened was, V'layla oir ba'adeni. The Layla became oir for me. Famous kapil, David HaMelech says, Achoshech yushafeni, V'layla oir ba'adeni, Gam choshech la yachshek mimeka, Layla kayoim yoyer, Kachashecha ka'oira, etc. I thought choshech is encompassing my life. In reality, Laila became Or. What do we see from her? Alma Or Yamamu. Laila became Or. Laila and Yoim work together. Night became day. We see clearly when the Tanakh wants to describe day, it calls it Or. So Or La'arba Reb Huna is right. It means day, it means not night. Zog the Gemarah, wrong. Wrong shot. Hasim, you're contrasting Laila with Or, with Yoim. Stop shot. Hasim Hachikam David. David meant as follows. Ani amarti achoshech yushufeni lo'olam haba shu doim l'yoyim. I thought that even in olam haba, which is like day, it's bright, I will still be in darkness. Achshav, what happened in reality is olam haza shu doim l'layla or ba'adeni. Even olam haza, which is like Laila, versus olam haba, which is like Yoim, became Or. In other words, we're not contrasting Or to Laila. We're contrasting Laila to Yoim, and Or to Choshech. It works very well. In the Havamina, Achoshech Yushafeni, darkness enveloped me, and Laila became Or. Laila became Yom. So we have a challenge to Rabbi Yehuda says that Oir is night. In the Hava and Maskana, the conclusion, we're not doing that. We're contrasting Choshech to Oir. Nobody has a problem with that. Everybody knows Oir means light. Choshech is darkness, Oir is light. Choshech Yushufeni. I thought that even in Yoim, I will still be in darkness, meaning even in Olam Haba, I will remain in darkness. That's what a hard challenge I had, and that's what people said about me. L'poyel, it came out that even in Laila, which is Olam Haza, which is called Laila, when you don't see reality, the definition of our world is you don't see reality, was already Oir Ba'adeni, became Lichtik. Not Laila became Oir. Even in a time of Laila in Olam Haza, I had not Choshech, but I had Oir. You understand? I thought that even in Yoim, which is Olam Haba, I'll still have Choshech. It turned out, not only in Yom do I have Oir, but even in Laila, which is Olam Haza, I have Oir. But there's no raya to hear that Oir is the name for day, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda could still maintain his view with Oir La'arbas. And Rashi teaches this. Rashi teaches this quite interesting, what he meant. V'oimer achoshech yishufeni, v'oimer savra yisi ba'onyek sheyisi nirdif. I was persecuted by people. David HaMelech was a unique person. He was persecuted physically, and he was persecuted spiritually. People had very negative things. So he said, Ach b'choshech ze amos. I will die in darkness. V'hu yishufeni, v'hu yachshech tomid alai, loshen neshef v'layla. Neshef means night. V'choshech ze yishisharav boy. Nasa or ba'adeni yetzli. The choshech that I was in became Oir v'gabei Laila shaykh l'meimar Yom. Al machi komar David halayla nasa l'Yom. The contrast to Laila is Yom. That's the Havamin. And for the Gemarah, Ani amarti v'pnei chatoi. Because of my sins, I said she'af min olam haba etare. I believe that even in olam haba, I will be lost. V'achshav shemacha li aloisei avon af min olam haza she'yisishoru boi b'choshech u'b'cherpa heir ba'adeni. Now God forgave me my sin, even in this world where I was Balayla. He teaches here Balayla, I was in darkness and shame. I got light. Shaidia Kadosh Baruch Hu l'sayne David me'shleimer shemachal l'David shebikish l'achnes aron l'beis kodshei hakadoshim v'davku sharim zeh b'zeh b'mayit katan daf tes. When Shlomo built the Beis Hamikdash and he brought the Aron and he wanted to bring it into the Holy of Holies, the Gemara brings that all the psukim, Su'u Sha'arim Rashaychim V'nasu Pischei Elam V'avei Melech HaKavod, Su'u Sha'arim Rashaychim V'su Pischei Elam V'avei Melech HaKavod. The gates were closed and Shlomo HaMelech could not bring in the Aron. And nothing was helping. And finally Shlomo invoked the schus of his father David, and that's when the gates opened up. And it says that all of the Soine, David had a tremendous amount of enemies, people who despised him and accused him of the worst things. They all realized that they were mistaken in their perception of David HaMelech. So even in Olam Haza, even in a case of Laila, in a state of Laila, there was an inyan of Oir. So b'meila, there's no disrefutation of Rabbi Yehuda. Zog the Gemarah Meisva. We have a Mishnah in Daf Yud. Rabbi Yehuda says, Boitkin Oir Arba'asar. You have to do b'dikas chametz on the Oir Arba'asar. Uber Arba'asar Shachris, Arba'asar in the morning, Uber Sha'as Abir, and during the destroying chametz. It sounds like you have to do b'dika 3 times. We'll see what that Mishnah means. No, mid the Rabbi Yehuda, Boitkin Oir Arba'asar, Uber Arba'asar Shachris, Alma Oir Urtahu. Shma Minah. He says you have to be baidik on the Oir of Arba'asar and the morning of Arba'asar. You can't say Oir means morning, because morning he has a separate halach. The Charaya Oir means the night of Arba'asar. There's a clear raya that Oir is Urta. Oir means night. Zog the Gemarah on this. Shma Mina. We have from here a proof to Rav Yehuda's explanation in our Mishnah that Oir means night. From the next Mishnah, and the next Mishnah, you can't argue that Oir means day because it says clearly Shachris. Here, Rav Huna can have an opinion, but over there, you can't argue. You would think if you have a Shma Minah, why would the Gemara still continue for quite another while to figure this out? Obviously, it's not Mamash Raya. The Raya, what Rabbeinu David says, the Raya would be that Oir could mean at night. Oir could mean night, but Oir means light, so certainly it could mean day too. You could say in that Mishnah you have no choice. It's a shtickle raya because it's 2 Mishnahs of the same Masechta, but you could still say over there it means night. Over there you don't have a choice. So all we could prove from here is that Oir could mean night. That Oir means night. Maybe we have to presume Oir means day. When you have no choice, say okay, the Mishnah is using Oir as a euphemism for night. But the way to presume it, l'chatchila, it's a b'diavad. If you have no other pshat, but l'chatchila, you should say that Oir means day, because it means lichtikan. That's why you have more and more rayas coming This Rabbeinu David Taich is very geschmack to show no, that the Mishnah is very commonly the Mishnah will use oir to denote night. It's not upside yotzim and akla. You found one Mishnah and you'll say, okay, I have no choice there, but presumably I should presume that it's day. From when are you forbidden to do malacha on Arba Asar on the 14th day of Pesach? Now in Torah, you're allowed to do malacha, of course, on Arba Asar, not after Chatzos, but in the morning. But there was a minhag, as we'll see later, Dafnun, that there were places they had a minhag and they turned it into a strong halacha in those places that you don't do malacha on the 14th day of Pesach, even on the 14th day of Nisan, even before midday, even before the time of Bimakam the Korban Pesach. From when? Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov and Mishas ha'oir. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov said from the time of oir. Rabbi Yehuda says Mishas ha'netzachama, from the time of sunrise. That's the time. Sunrise. Amalei Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov tells Rabbi Yehuda, 1 second. Where do you ever have a day that part of it should be permissible to work and part should be forbidden to work? This doesn't make sense. I say you're not allowed to do work from Shas Ha'oir. Rabbi Yehuda says you're not allowed to do work from sunrise. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov said, whoever heard that part of the day yes, part of the day not? That was his response. Amalei. So Rabbi Yehuda told him, who says? Look at Erev Pesach. Part of Erev Pesach you're allowed to eat chametz, part you're not. So the same thing, part you're allowed to do malacha, part you're not. 1 second, good. What do we see from here? Alma, oir the kamer Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov urtu. You see clearly that oir is night. Why? Rabbi Yehuda says when you're not allowed to do malacha from Netzachama. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov says you're not allowed to do Mishas ha'oir. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov says, Rabbi Yehuda, you're wrong because you can't divide a day and say half the day yeah, half the day, part of the day yeah, part of the day not. So what do we see? When is oir? Oir is night. You're not allowed to do malacha from the night of our Asar. So we clearly see another proof that in the Mishnah you have oir as night. Mishas ha'oir is the way to say night. In other words, another proof to Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah as well. Zog the Gemarah, who says, Loi, my oir amud hashachar. When Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov says you're not allowed to do malacha, mishas ha'oir, he means from the time of day, from the beginning of day, which is amud hashachar, sunrise. Dawn break versus sunrise. Frag the Gemarah, really? Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov criticizes Rabbi Yehuda. Whoever heard that you split up the day? Part is mutter, part is asur. Till Nates is mutter, after Nates is asur. Let him speak to himself. You say the same thing. Night is mutter, and day is asur from Alois HaShachar. You're tiny to Rabbi Yehuda. That you never split up a day and say part is asur, part is mutter. It's mutter or it's asur. So therefore, don't say till Nates HaChama it's mutter, and after Nates HaChama it's asur. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, speak to yourself. You're making the same mistake. You say that the night before you're allowed to do malacha. Only by Alois HaShachar you're not allowed to do malacha. Meaning, if you say oir means from the night, then it's very geschmack. Rabbi Yehuda splits up the day in two. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov doesn't split up the day in two. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov says a whole Erev Pesach is also the malacha. Rabbi Yehuda says only from Netzacham. But if you're teaching Shas ha'oir means from Alois HaShachar, so Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov is screaming at is telling Rabbi Yehuda, we don't do this. You're doing the same thing according to you. Zog the Gemarah, it's not a problem. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov hachikam. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov says also, Bishleima ledidi melami ashkechina. We find the kapalgi rabbanim ben yamama lalayla. We find that the rabbis split the day from the night. The Tanana, the Tanya, gabi tainis sibur ad masay oichel v'shoysen. Till when are you allowed to eat and drink by every fast? Besides Yom Kippur and Tisha B'av, ad sheyal amud hashachar. Every tainis you can eat by night, and when dawn breaks, you stop eating. Divrei Rebbe Lezer ben Yaakov. Reb Shimon not kreis hagever. Reb Shimon says once the rooster starts crowing, you can't eat. That's a little earlier than Alois HaShachar. But everybody is moided that the night before Shivas B'Tam was Asar B'Tevis. So in Gedalia, all the Tanaisim, you're allowed to eat the night before. So we see clearly that a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, it starts by day and not at night. All the Tanaisim you can eat at night, and you can fast by day. But by you, according to you, we didn't ever have that in the day itself. The Chachamim should make a split before sunrise and after sunrise. That's the shayla. Loit Rebbe Lezer ben Yaakov, it's a split between night and day. You're allowed to do malacha the night of Erev Pesach. You're not allowed to do malacha from Alois HaShachar. That concept we see. All the fast days, the Chachamim let you eat by night and not by day from Alois HaShachar or Kreis HaGever. But you, Rabbi Yehuda, you're saying you could work till sunrise. For a lot of people, that was significant. They used to wake up early, and you could work the first hour. When does the Isra Malacha start? Neitzachama. This we never heard about. That the Chachamim should split up in a day itself. Zois lo shamanu. That's why the Belazer ben Yaakov argues with Rabbi Yehuda. So really, you could say Or means not night. Or means Alois HaShachar. And therefore, there's no refutation and to say that Or means night and Rabbi Yehuda is right. Really, Or means Alois HaShachar. Why are you screaming at Rabbi? Why are you arguing with Rabbi Yehuda that Heichon Matzinu? Where do we find that part of the day is Asur, part of the day is Mutter? It's a good taina. According to him, he's not splitting up the day. He's splitting up the day from the night. And for the Gemarah, Zog the Gemarah, really, Amalei. So Rabbi Yehuda responded, Hu atzma yechiach shemektzasi mutter b'achilas chametz, mektzasi asur b'achilas chametz. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov. You forgot Erev Pesach. Erev Pesach, the day is split. Till Chatzos, you can eat chametz. After Chatzos, you can eat chametz. It's not a split between day and night. It's a split between day and day. We see Erev Pesach itself. You're coming to me and saying, Rabbi Yehuda, you can't make such a halach that from Neitzachama you're not allowed to work till Neitzachama you're allowed to work. We don't split a day. Heichon Matzinu. Really? Heichon Matzinu? This day itself, Matzinu. You're bringing me rayas from Tanesim. I'm bringing you rayas from this day itself. Sag the Gemarah, Shapir Kamalei Rabbi Yehuda Rebbe Lezer. Rebbe Lezer sagt doch gut. Sag gut the taina. No, Hachi Kamalei Rebbe Lezer. Rebbe Lezer would answer, Amin Allah Chana Melacha de Rabbana. But I'm not lichametz d'oraisa. I'm talking about a malacha which is on minig de Rabbana, and you're bringing me chametz d'oraisa. The ad hacha aser rachman, the ad hacha shar rachman. Was willst du? The Torah says till now it's mutter, from now it's aser. I have no problem. The Rebbeinu Shalom can decide whatever he wants. Till Chatzos he says it's mutter. After Chatzos he said it's aser. I'm talking malacha, the Israel malacha Erev Pesach in the morning is the Rabbanon. The Rabbanan never split up a day from a day. They split up a day from a night, like my fast days, but they never make a takana that's only part of the day. Hashem, he can do it for his reasons. I may know it, I may not know it, I may understand it, I may not understand it. You're bringing me a raya from God to the Rabbanan. Don't bring such a raya. Hashem, the Rahmanah, could split up a day whenever he wants. This is the time the Isser starts. But the Rabbanan, I'm telling you that there's no precedent for the Chachamim to make a takana and split up the day. It doesn't exist. The night, yes. The night from the day, yes. The day in the day, not. That's why I tell you the Isser Malacha starts Alois HaShachar, not Neitzachama. That's how you can touch it clearly. But there's no split in the day. Don't bring me a raya from Chametz, which is an Indian of the Iraisa to Malacha, which is an Isser de Rabbanan. That would be the Belezer's refutation in response to the Yehuda. So the Gemara finishes. V'idach, nu, sagt doch gut. Rabbi Yehuda would answer, excuse me, you didn't understand what I said. Shoy is the Rabbanan. Min ha-Torah not allowed to eat chametz from midday. The Chachamim made it 2 hours earlier. If midday is 12 o'clock, you're not allowed to eat chametz at 10 o'clock. That day added, that's not from Torah. From 10 to 12, you're not allowed to eat chametz. So what do you see? Till 10, they said yes. After 10, not. So they split up Erev Pesach. They themselves... They could have said a whole Erev Pesach you're not allowed to eat chametz, a whole morning. They didn't say that. Till 10, yes. After 10, not. So my Rashta by Malacha, they did the same thing. Till Nates, no. And from Nates, yeah. V'idach, what will the Belezer answer? Harchaku the Ovid Rabbanan l'dayraisa. It's a mistake to compare it. The 2 hours that you're not allowed to eat chametz from 10 to 12 is a harchaka. It's a buffer for a dayraisa. Meaning, dayraisa starts at 12. The Chachamim were afraid that on a cloudy day like today, before clocks, people are looking at the sun. They're waiting for the sun to be over their head, to be able to be 12 o'clock to stop eating chametz. It's a cloudy day, you make a mistake, and you think, the sun is not over your head because you don't see it clearly, and really it's already 12:30, but you think it's 11:30 and you have another half an hour to go because it's a cloudy day. Or even not a cloudy day, but you can make a mistake in hours because it's based on judgment. Not everyone is such an expert to know. So therefore they said, let's just make it a guarantee and make it 2 hours earlier. It's not a din d'Rabbanon that they're being mechadish not to eat chametz Erev Pesach in the morning. They're just trying to give insurance, guarantee for the Isim and HaTorah. They want the Isim and HaTorah should be upheld. How do you make sure it's upheld? You make a buffer zone that even on a cloudy day and people make mistakes, and 11:30 is, they think it's 11:30 and really it's 12:30. It's not a problem. Even 11:30 you're not allowed to. And it's really, it's 1:30 and they think it's 10:30. It's all Zayin. Because even 10:30 you're not allowed to. It's just a buffer zone that ice. When the Rabbanan are making their own takana, for example, Isur Malacha Erev Pesach in the morning, Rebbe Lezer says they would never differentiate the day. Ever. They would make either a whole day or not a whole day. And therefore I say it starts Mishas Ha'or, which we can interpret as night, but as we explained, we can also interpret as Alois Hashachar, and therefore we have no raya that Or means night. When it comes to Tanesim, they could make a differentiation because it's between night and day, but the moment the Alois Hashachar comes, you're not allowed to eat anymore, or even according to Reb Shimon, a little earlier by Krois HaGever, which is earlier than Alois Hashachar. But the point is, the night is permissible, you're allowed to eat the night before Tanis. When it comes to Malacha, they don't make a differentiation. Where Chametz, they're not making it. Hashem is making, the Torah is making. They made an Isser an extra 2 hours. That's a harchaka to the Iraisa. They're just trying to protect the Iraisa. They just want to make sure you're not even on the Isser and Torah. It's not a takana that's a new takana. Where Rabbi Yehuda Tain is not that way. Rabbi Yehuda says that the fact that they made a takana to the Doiraisa, it has its own significance of a takana d'Rabbanan, even though it's a harchaka, and therefore you could learn from here that they could make a differentiation during the day, and therefore he says that what? That Malacha happens from Neitz HaCham. Was gewollt etwas fragen?
What about
Sof Zman Tefillah, nu.
also split day? Sof Zman left.
Savsman Sreifas Chametz is the same. That's the same nekuda. That's like this: that the burning of chametz you have to do by chatzos, and they made it early. That's the same nekuda. But Negei Zman Krishma, that's a doiraisa. You're talking about tefillah, Zman tefillah. That's an interesting shaila. But l'chayda, that's a whole different vort. They were mesaken shachris. Mincha Ma'ariv. That's not a takana of the day. Erev Pesach, they said Erev Pesach is also b'malacha. When do you start? 6:30, not 5:30. Husband Jacobson says, why do you start 6:30, not 5:30? Zman Tefillah is a takana 3 times during the day. Their mesaken in the morning is a davening. The whole takana revolves around the time. You understand what I'm saying? Shachris is morning. 3 o'clock in the afternoon is not morning. Mincha is afternoon. 9 o'clock in the morning is not afternoon. Ma'ariv is night. 11 o'clock in the morning is not Ma'ariv. The whole takana is splitting up certain times in the day and making a time of tefillah. Huh? Beer chametz, yeah. But that's... No, malacha doesn't mean you're not allowed to do work. Lamatas malachas. You're allowed to open up light on Erev Pesach. It means malacha the malacha the person goes to work. Beer chametz? No, that's the mitzvah. That's like the mitzvah for the talk. Malacha doesn't mean you're not allowed to sew a button or you're not allowed to open a light. Malacha means a person goes on Erev Pesach not to open a light.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.